We're at Club Champion. We're with the founder, Nick. We're sitting behind a familiar wall. We've done a lot of content on this. We've shown off this shaft wall, this club head wall. It makes a lot of our readers jealous. They'd like to have this in their basement or house. But I wanted to dive a little deeper because one of the things that's really intriguing about this is not about what's on the wall. It's about everything that's on the wall and the fact that you're completely brand agnostic. And I'm not saying that as an advertisement for Club Champion. I'm saying it because it's true. You have every brand here within reason, and every shaft brand, again, within reason. It gives you guys the benefit to take all of that out of the equation, talk to the consumer. If the golfer wants to be fit to a certain brand, he can. Otherwise, you guys can find the best thing for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It's it's always fun to talk about the demo wall because we have 200 different wood shafts, 200 different iron shafts, different lengths, different profiles, different flexes, and then we have all the different heads on the market, and it really allows our fitters to have the ability to do anything for anybody, right? So, as you've been in club fitting enough or been around it. There's a lot of different golfers come in different shapes, sizes, swings, and
Are you talking about me?
yeah, maybe a little. So we have the ability here, and we were just training a class today in our CCU, and we were talking about the shaft wall, and we're talking about, okay, you have a person that comes in and they're a little over the top. You have a person that's a little steep. You have a person that
You are talking about me.
you have a person that comes a little inside, and you have a shaft to do the job. And our fitters are not, they don't even know what we pay for this stuff. They don't know what our margins are, and they have no incentivized to pay. We don't do spiffs. We don't do any of that. This is a toolbox to allow them to get the numbers. It's all about getting the numbers for you, and then they want to make a sale, but they're making a sale based off numbers, and they have the tools to do that. And that's the big thing about coming to Club Champion is we give them these tools, whether we're talking about TrackMan or we're talking about the demo wall. It's you have the tools to do the job properly.
Now, one of the things that I want to talk about, and as we dive a little deeper into this, is we don't talk about what we're going to talk about. You just say, ask me anything, and that's kind of what we're doing here. When we're talking about brand agnostic, I think people in our audience and most audience get confused between fitting and demo. Nobody's going to get a proper fitting by coming here and hitting all 200 shafts. That would not be helpful. You would not get proper information. It's your experts. Your experts will be able to diagnose after watching them hit some things that they think might be best for them. On average, what do you think a person is going to test out when they come here?
Well, that's a great point. You're not going to hit everything. That's why we have an interview at the front. We want to know what you want to test because we want to make sure we test that. But you got to know our fitters, I mean, they're the best of the best, and they know all these heads in and out. So they know some launch higher, some launch lower, some spin more, some spin less. So even though they want to test what you want to test because part of this is getting it eliminated from your brain, they're going to go attack the products based off what you're seeing. So if they see somebody launching it high, spinning it, or launching it low, not spinning it, whatever it may be, there's different heads that are going to attack those problems based on their design and R&D than others, and so that's what they're going to go after. And since they're agnostic and they're just trying to show you the numbers, that's what they're going to go.
How many, if we're looking at drivers, how many combinations are there? Am I probably throwing you for a loop there? Or maybe you've done the math. And what is the average person coming in for a fitting session for, let's just use driver as an example. How many heads are they going to try out? How many shaft combinations? Obviously, it's different for every person, but there's a certain limit before somebody's going to get really tired.
Yeah, so I've done the math of the entire system. Actually, I've done it broken down, but I don't remember it. So it is 35,000 plus combinations, all the whole wall. But drivers, I don't know what that equates to. But here's what I can tell you to answer the other part of it. We're going to typically try to keep that somewhere between 50 and 100 swings. 100 would be really high, but more around 50 to 65 is what we're really trying to do. And a lot of times it's going to live 65 to 75, but that's the goal. And we're going to try, we're usually going to try somewhere between 4 to 7 shafts, and we're going to try somewhere between 3 to 6 heads. Now, that varies a lot. It varies with the caliber of player. It varies with what the player wants. There's a lot of things that factor into that. And here's what I'll ultimately always tell people. You can go on our website and you can see the times that we state a fitting is going to take. And a lot of times they fall in that. But we also want our customers to always know we will never rush you. So at the end of the day, if we don't get the results in front of you, we'll ask you to come back and just do another session. Obviously, you won't pay 2 sessions. You'll just pay the 1 session, but we'll just do a follow-up. So I always want people to understand we will take the time it needs to get the proper answers. So whatever that is.
So when I was fit at Club Champion, it was before you and I had become friendly. I had gone through, and you actually nailed it, and obviously you teach the class. I tested out 7 driver heads, 6 maybe, and 3 to 5 different shafts because we kind of nailed it on the first one, which was something different than I expected, to be fair. When you nail it, when you're actually doing the fitting and you get the guy and or lady and the the combination is perfect, how do you relay that to the golfer to say, like, listen, we're not going to get anything better than that?
Well, that's tough. And a lot of times I still will do I'll call it a pony show at that point, right? So even though I know in my hearts of hearts, because I know what numbers can be and what they're supposed to be and that you're there, I'm going to have you test other stuff just so that I can prove out the point. I want you leaving knowing, okay, I went to the highs, I went to the lows, and this is where I fell, and it was perfect. And so there's some validation. So there's no question that sometimes you're going to come in for a fit, and your fitter probably already had the fitting done in the first 15 minutes, but it goes another 45. Well, listen, we want to make you completely comfortable with what you saw and why you saw it, so that you don't think there's some smoke and mirror. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, smoke and mirror is a very difficult thing to do, so if people think that happens, it doesn't really happen.
It's hard to make up the numbers. I mean, they're watching them the same way you guys are.
Exactly. So but it's nice to prove it out. So it is one of those things, and I will tell folks a lot of times it happens in the first couple 3 because fitters, you got to remember these guys are doing fittings 3, 4, 5 fits a day, 5 to 6 days a week. They see a lot of swings. They know this product like the back of their hand, and before you know it, they get pretty good at plugging it.